So today we're going to be talking about boundaries without guilt in a remote environment. Thank you so much for everybody who's here, people that are joining as well. Just a reminder here, right? We have a chat where you can send comments, and also we have the Q&A session where you can send your question as well. So feel free. It's an open space for us to bring here some insights, and I hope that this time here it is going to be good for you. All right. Okay, so boundaries without guilt, and why this theme, why this subject for this meeting? And for me, I would like to start with the meaning and the importance of boundaries. Boundaries, as a synonym of limits, if we could say, are not walls. They are structures that allows us to do our best work while protecting what matters most. And before talking and establishing boundaries, I think that it's necessary for us to understand that boundaries, it's important not only for our job, but also for our life, personal life, professional life as well. So establishing boundaries, it's essential for our lives and for us as a person, right? I have some notes here. And the word boundaries can sound restrictive, but in truth, boundaries are create freedom. So I do believe that as soon as is it clear for us to know what is this space, as soon as we have clear meaning of the boundary, so we are free to work and to make improvements inside of this restricted space. So it is restrictive in a sense, but creates freedom to the other side. And when I talk about boundaries, I'm talking about the limits. And as I was saying, boundaries. And when I think about boundaries, I'm talking about the limits we must have in our professional environment and can also be applied to our interpersonal communication here in this professional work. And before going into this the emotional process, I would say, I would like to bring the understanding that before establishing boundaries, it's necessary to answer some questions. What is my role? What I am responsible for? What does success look like here? So you can create boundaries if you understand your role, if you understand where you are, if you understand hierarchy and who you are at the table. So this way you establish limits and boundaries for the remote work. And I have a quote here that says, if we don't define what we do, we will end up doing everything and nothing well at the same time. So with a clear understanding and answer to these questions that I said, it will be able to develop new strategies, create projects that will help to the company to grow, and it will be free to be proactive. And I know that this is a tricky word to be proactive nowadays. It's a way for you to showcase the best of yourself. But to showcase this and to be proactive, it's necessary to first understand your role, understand who you are, and understand also the time. We're going to be talking about this as well. But never forget that proactivity is a double-edged sword. That's something I use it to say. It is positive from one side, but can be negative if you don't use it properly or in the right time. And here I comes with this double-edged sword that is called proactiveness. Being proactive is powerful, but without clarity, it can become exhausting and discouraging. And proactivity is often seen as the answer to everything, but it's not a fix-all. So yes, it's important to be proactive, but it's not a fix-all situation. Without understanding your role, your responsibilities, what success actually means for your position, being proactive becomes random effort. And when we talk about proactiveness, I know that it brings also the word expectation. So it's necessary for us to understand the expectations, not only regarding your expectation, but also the customers, your role expectation, and that the company has upon you as well. And I know that this deals with our emotions. It touches areas of our lives that it can be sensitive in a sense. But I really want to bring here maturity upon this, because I know that the marketplace, it's changing all the time, every single day. We used to do this, to talk about this during the calls that we have with the remote talents. And we tried, how can I be the best of myself? How can I showcase in a different approach, in a different way, being proactive? But we must be careful with this proactiveness and how. You must understand not only what is under your responsibility, but also when and how to voice the ideas you intend to bring. Great ideas can be ruined by bad communication. And I know that I faced this sometimes times ago, and I'm trying to learn this every single day, because we think that we have an idea that can change the world. But if we voice this in a wrong way, this can ruin everything. It can bring miscommunication, misunderstanding, and so the idea also don't come. When you act without alignment, two things can happen. You waste time solving problems that are not the priority for this moment or season. And when I'm talking about this, maybe you are identifying a gap that will be important in the future. So take notes on this. Sorry, Francis, I believe your mic is open. Could you please just turn off the mic? I can see some noise. Thank you. So maybe you're identifying something that will be important for one season that is not this one. And so take notes and try to evaluate when is the best moment, how to address these, who you're going to address to. As I said, hierarchy is important. So, okay, let me identify who is the best person, or if it is the best way for me to do it, to talk to someone, to address things properly. And also, when you act without alignment, you can feel invisible or even guilty because your efforts aren't acknowledged or even noticed. And we have the tendency to think that this is the leadership. Okay, oh, my leader didn't get what I mean, or he didn't embrace the idea that I have. But actually, maybe this is because of this communication or the season or whatever. So it's necessary to understand this first. So understanding the right time can help avoid negative feelings. So with this maturity that we bring, it can help you and avoid and protect you also for bringing negative feelings for you. Yesterday and the days before, I know that today also in a meeting, I shared one Bible verse during the health checks, and I want to bring here to recap this once again. It is written in Ephesians 5:15-16 that says, "Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of the time." And the Bible also teaches us about the time, about being wise. And I'm also talking about boundaries here again. And I know that this text can be referring to another subject, but the fact is that we must be wise. And we must evaluate if that's the best moment to be proactive, even thinking about the responsibility and expectation that will be created after that. People used to say that time is money, and I believe that an unwise use of time can negatively affect your mental health and bring unnecessary pressure. So it's important for us to understand this, in a wise way. I think that even like each time more, we must be using the time properly in a wise sense, and understand that, okay, if I bring something here, if I am proactive, also there will be responsibilities after that, because you brought the idea, you should handle it until the end. It's not only bringing ideas and let it go. Okay, you brought the idea, so how is it going to be? And this will bring you a pressure. Are you ready for this? Okay, are you ready at this time for this pressure that you will be carrying? Another thing is proactivity without direction. It's like running with energy, but with no map. So you do have an energy to do something, but you have not a direction. So you just have an idea and it's just okay. So it's necessary to understand all the environment and have an holistic view of the situation, right? An overview of the company, the role, who you are at the moment, the season, if it is the right moment to do it. And I brought here also 3 layers, so to establish and to build a healthy boundary. So healthy boundaries. And I do believe that, as I said, if we have a mental healthy environment, we can establish practical boundaries in our lives. So for the remote work, I believe that healthy boundaries and an assertive posture in the job come from organization. Sorry, can you hear, guys? Okay, I'm back. An assertive posture in the job come from organization and small changes in our routine and even our environment. That's why I want to bring the idea of 3 layers. So starting from the basics, so then you can establish properly the boundaries. So the first layer, I would say the basis, is when you work to create a structure in a fluid remote environment by deciding when your work begins and ends. So I know that we discussed this previously, and I used to talk this during the health checks as well as a supervisor, like to establish your work hours and respect this time slot. Um, so create structure in a fluid remote environment by deciding when your work begins and ends. Yes. So a time slot. People overextend, stay logged in after hours, and burn out trying to be always on. I know exceptions happen. I know that when we are finishing our times, our work hours, okay, I have something else to do, a task, I want to finish this or that. As a leadership, as creatives, I know that this happens, but we must create boundaries upon this. Because if we take 30 minutes after our work hours today, 45 minutes in the other day, 1 hour the other day, we don't see, but we are not creating boundaries upon our times. And this way we will bring burnout. And, in the near future, 1 month later, weeks later, we will see, okay, what happened to me? Because, I cannot work during the working hours that it gave me. And at the same time, I'm not feeling okay. My mind is like going crazy. Uh, so it's important to establish these boundaries upon our work, our time, using properly. Your calendar is a tool for discipline, not just appointments. Without time boundaries, everything becomes urgent and nothing gets finished. You can do your best work while half rested and half present. So boundaries upon the hours are really important for us. I know that we have questions here. Later on, I can read it. So practical tips upon this topic. Respect the time slot proposed to you and avoid constant extra hour. As I said, I understand that staying a little longer than the scheduled time is necessary. However, the more you organize your calendar to avoid this, the better it will be for you. Uh, and okay, we can use tools like Slack, Google Calendar, Google Suites. It has this option, okay, out of work, not available at this time. So this helps not only the person to see that, okay, time's gone, it's okay, but also for you to say, right, now it is not the moment for me to do it. And for your mind as well to see, to be there saying, okay, I'm not available for it. Being constantly available isn't a strength. It's a sign that you haven't protected your time. So you maybe think that, okay, it is so much positive for me to be online during the weekends or after my working hours, but this is not actually positive. So we really must establish boundaries upon the time, right? And the layer 2 is space boundaries. So we talked about the time, and also we must establish boundaries for our space. And I know that Ryan spoke about this in stand-ups, previous stand-ups. And when I'm talking about space boundaries, I'm talking about the physical space. So physically define your workspace, even at home, to create mental separation between your work identity and personal self. So when you work from the kitchen, the bed, the couch, I know that we are remotely working, and this is the flexibility is really positive, but it can be negative in a sense as well. Your brain doesn't know when to turn off when you are working on these places like a kitchen or a couch or whatever. This blurring leads to mental fatigue, lack of focus, and ongoing sense of tension, even off the clock. So you don't feel this, okay, why is happening this? But even something in your environment may be affecting your productivity, may be affecting your job. Maybe you cannot solve a situation, you know that there is something to be done, and okay, I know that I must do this, but I don't know how. Or I know that I have just a few tasks to be accomplished, but I don't know what is going on because I cannot finish even these small things, right? So when you establish this boundary, like when you create this space where you can work properly, it helps you to say, okay, this is the space that I have to work. And when you are there in this space, it means that, okay, now it is my time for work. Now it is my time to do what I need. And then we go to another topics related to priorities, right? But not that's not the case at this moment. So establishing this physical boundary is really important. Space tells your brain what mode it should be in: focus, rest, or connection. A designated workspace doesn't need to be big; it needs to be intentional. So I believe that's the key. Uh, just some random thing here. I live in an apartment, a small one, and my workspace is my bedroom. But I have a space to establish, okay, where is the rest? Where is the workplace? A desk or something to establish this physical place. It's really important to turn on this working mode, right? This helps you to turn on and turn off when necessary. Repeated working in spaces designed for rest, like the bed or couch, can damage both work quality and relaxation capacity as well. And what can be done for this? Avoid working from the bed. I know that many times, okay, I'm relaxed here. It's Friday. I have my couch here. It's calling me. So let me just finish this task here. This cannot be really good. And even you can make some mistakes there because you are not totally focused on that. Your space is not saying that you are there to work. So your mind also don't understand that that's a place for you to work. And so also to create a shutdown ritual. I know that I'm learning to do this as well. Many times it's not easy because we also have our cell phone, our mobile phone as well. But to create this shutdown ritual, it helps us to understand and to establish the boundaries. And it will bring also respect to yourself, saying, okay, he respects his work hours. So let me understand that he's not working at this moment. So I will not send him a message right now. So it's important to establish this. Even in my personal life, I mean, people know, okay, Marcos is working now, so I would not bother him because he does not send me messages while he's working. So people know that in the mornings, for me, is precious. So do not knock on my door, do not ring my phone, do not send me messages. I will not answer you. So I established this boundary, even with people that is close to me, to say, okay, guys, I know that I work remotely. I know that can be flexible, but I am working. So I established this boundary as well for them, and they see that, okay, let me respect him. So this brings respect to you as well. Your body needs cues. When everything happens in the same place, nothing feels fully done. As I said, you must teach your mind. I know that Beatrice can talk more about this, but our body must understand the boundaries that we're establishing. So if you say to your mind that it's a place for you to work, if this is the environment that you have to work, so it will respect it. The opposite also happens. When everything happens in the same place, nothing feels fully done. So we have the first layer, which was the time, the second, which was the environment around you, and the third one, finally, I believe the hardest one probably, mental and emotional boundaries. And we live in times of to be in a hurry, things changing consistently. And after working on a healthy environment, it is important, it is time to finally look to ourselves, to develop the ability to protect our emotion energy, say no towards misalignment, and reduce guilty when choosing sustainable over reactive work habits. And this is something that we learn with life, and I know that probably we will never have an answer on how to do this properly, but saying no is important. I know that we have many books or quotes or things sharing about talking about this topic, But saying no is crucial. It's important for us. And saying yes too, but to know and to establish boundaries by saying no, it's really important. This is the most invisible layer, but it's often where burnout truly begins. It's not just about saying yes to too much, it is about the belief that you can't say no. Guilt, imposter syndrome, and over responsibility quietly erode well being. And I know that imposter syndrome, I don't know if everybody knows about it, but it's that feeling of I can say no, and then you feel with this feeling, etc. Overfunctioning is not the same as high performance. Being proactive without alignment leads to wasted time and frustration. Saying no doesn't mean being unhelpful. It means being strategic with your capacity. And this for me is something I'm learning as well. Saying no doesn't mean being unhelpful. It means being strategic with your capacity. So it's established for you a boundary. I know that it's a no because of this and that. And based on that, what we discussed it previously, answering the questions and knowing that what is your role, what you must be doing in your role, what is your hierarchy, what is surrounding you. So you can say no because you establish the boundaries and you are plenty, you really know what surrounds you, and you can say no because of these boundaries that you created. If you don't know how to say no, you can use statements like, that's not something I can commit to right now, but I can help you find a solution. So here at Humify, we are problem solvers. Like I used to ask people to be problem solving, and that's it. So, okay, maybe you don't know how to say no, but let's figure it out how to do it, right? Check your workload before agreeing to anything new. When in doubt, ask, is this aligned with my role and priorities? But also challenge yourself because it's not avoid and say no to everything. You can say yes because maybe it's something that you don't want to face. It's a new something for your life. It's something that you're fear of saying yes, or okay, we have a proposal, we have an opportunity for you, let's say, I don't know, a director of something, and you are like, I'm not prepared for this, and I will say no. But challenge yourself. This can be positive as well. Challenge yourself to go beyond and understand that saying no to an opportunity can be the same as saying no to new perspectives and skills you didn't know you had. We must avoid imposter syndrome and believe we can adapt to uncomfortable situations. This can bring us precious lessons. So there is this situation where boundaries and going to uncomfortable situations and saying yes or no. So we must balance these things. And I believe that if you have a good environment or understanding, then you can say, okay, I'll be proactive doing this, and I will say yes to an opportunity, even though it's uncomfortable for me. I will try because I can do it. So if you align things with you, I believe that this can be done. Don't feel guilty for not solving everything. Focus on delivering depth where it matters most. I have also a quote here: protecting your energy is part of your job. Burnout doesn't help anyone, not even the company. So I know that we're living these days where mental health, etc. And once again, being proactive is something important, but we must establish boundaries for avoiding this burnout and these issues with our minds. Um, Something also that I would say that it's important for boundaries, it is digital detox. This could be, okay, everybody says this and blah, 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 I'm fed up with this, that's okay, etc. But it's really important. You can't be creative, strategic, or focused if your brain is constantly on alert. Schedule daily screen-free times. So, for example, for me, during the weekends, it's the time that I have for, okay, I will not answer this or that, I won't do this or that. Exceptions can happen, but I establish a time for that and say, okay, I will turn it off, everything in detox, right? I establish boundaries for this. Turn off notification after work hours. Once again, exceptions can happen, but if you establish your boundaries, you understand what is your limit until when you can go, right? And separate work devices and spaces when possible. I have a final thought and takeaway here. Boundaries aren't just about avoiding burnout. They are about building a rhythm that is sustainable, fulfilling, and aligned with your purpose. And Tony Garskin, he's a coaching guy. He says you teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. So I believe that this word as boundaries is really important for us, and that's the word that I have for today, right? I know that we have some comments here and questions as well. So if you have anything to be shared, now it's the moment. There's something here. Got any practical tips for balancing time, space, and mental health to build healthier, more sustainable work habits? Okay, wow. Yeah, I think that we must be like, thank you so much. We must be intentional, as I said. We must be intentional on the things that we do, like in the three things that I mentioned: time, space, and mindset. To set clear work hours, go stick to them when you are not constantly on. To create this space, even that is a small one, it helps your brain to switch in and out from work mode. And also mentally, like knowing your role and priorities, you're not saying yes to everything out of guilt. So when those three things are aligned, I believe it becomes like easier and healthy as a sustainable way to work, right? That's it. I believe pretty much what I would say. If someone has something to share, thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for this. The time that we had here. I hope that you just get this. Also, we are open for comments and even suggestions for the next stand-ups. Hope to see you in 15 days, the next stand-ups. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye.